Good evening and welcome to Outlook Video, your nationally recognized award-winning news magazine for the LGBTQ community. Happy New Year. I'm Aejaie Franciscus.
And I'm Johnny Zick. We'd like to offer our condolences to the family and friends of San Francisco Mayor Ed Lee.
Mayor Lee, who oversaw a technology-driven economic boom in San Francisco that brought with it sky-high housing prices, despite his lifelong commitment to economic equality, died suddenly of a heart attack early Tuesday, December 12th, at the age of 65.
This month, Aejaie will be interviewing Dr. Heliana Ramirez, lead LGBT veteran care coordinator at the Palo Alto VA.
Gabrielle Antolovich and Kim Lawson were at San Jose City Hall AIDS Memorial and were able to interview the Reverend Rodgers of the First Century Evangelistic group. They talk about the importance of viewing the AIDS Memorial quilt and reminding people of the devastation of AIDS in today's world.
Kim Lawson covered the Center for Living with Dying Lights of Lights.
Chong covered the Rainbow World Fund's tree lighting ceremony at the San Francisco City Hall. We'll be seeing that later in the half hour.
We'll start the show with Aejaie's interview with Dr. Heliana Ramirez.
Hello, I'm Aejaie Franciscus, and this month I am privileged to interview Dr. Heliana Ramirez, who is the lead LGBT Veterans Care Coordinator at the Palo Alto VA. Good evening. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Great. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what the LGBT services are at the VA?
Sure. So some people are surprised to know that VA provides services to LGBT veterans because of historical anti-LGBT military policies like Don't Ask, Don't Tell. But actually, in fact, the VA is one of, if not the largest provider of LGBT healthcare in the world. And that's because of the vast numbers of LGBT people who've served in the U.S. military. In 2016, the LGBT Veteran Care Coordinator Program was begun, which establishes at least one LGBT point of contact per VA medical center. And at this point, there's actually 169 LGBT Veteran Care Coordinators across the country. And what we do is we act as a conduit between VA Central Office in Washington, D.C. and the local VA medical centers. So as you mentioned, I work at VA Palo Alto. I serve as a conduit between Washington, D.C. when they write policies that relate to LGBT veteran care. It's my job to ensure that our clinicians locally are aware of these policies and enforce them. I also provide LGBT cultural competence training to our staff. And I work on creating a welcoming environment for LGBT veterans who come to our campus. So in addition to the LGBT Veteran Care Coordinator Program begun in 2016, we also have several LGBT-related policies. We have anti-discrimination policies that protect veterans' sexual orientation and gender identity when they are accessing services, but not just LGBT veterans. We also have a policy that protects the partners, the family members and friends of LGBT veterans who come to access our care. Additionally, we have LGBT staff and allies special emphasis programs. So these are programs kind of like employee resource groups that are more familiar to many people in the larger community. And these groups really bring LGBT employees together to create a sense of connection to one another, and again, to create culture change on our campuses. Additionally, many VAs these days also host LGBT support groups. So whether these are support groups that are run by peers, so an LGBT veteran runs a group for other LGBT veterans, or groups that are provided by service providers. We have 102 of these groups across the country.
That's fantastic. So it's been around since 2016.
The LGBT VCC program since 2016.
Okay. So even veterans who are in the middle of the country and not necessarily going to have access to Palo Alto, which is an outstanding VA center, but in the middle of the country who may be viewing this program can actually call their local VA and find out who their LGBT coordinator is.
That's exactly right. And they can also go online. There's actually 60 different VAs who have web pages that are specifically devoted to LGBT veteran care.
And we're going to post a lot of those at the end of the show for people to kind of write down quickly so that they can go look at those. So I know that you and I met on a panel discussing trans health issues at the VA. What's the VA doing around transgendered health? Because I know that that's a really touchy subject right now with the ban on the military and that being fought out in the courts, and lots of people have an opinion. But where's the VA stand with all of that?
So in 2013, the VA created a transgender intersex veteran care policy, and while transgender communities and intersex communities are totally different, this is a policy that covers both transgender and intersex veterans. And this policy states that what services are available to transgender veterans on a VA campus and which services are not available. So for example, we provide hormone therapy. We do not provide gender confirmation affirmation surgeries, but we do provide pre and post-operative care. We provide mental health care. At VA Palo Alto locally, we have an all-gender bathroom project, which I'm thrilled is up and running.
I did notice that when we were there, yeah.
And we've also recently done a Transgender Day of Remembrance event, specifically looking at veteran and military experiences within the larger transgender community.
Okay, so do you think we're going to get to a point where the VA does confirmation surgeries?
Would that I had a magic wand and a glass ball. I would love to be able to, know that. There's no way to know, but what I can say that's really significant is that when the VA created this transgender intersex care policy, it was significant for the rest of the country, moving in a certain direction. Again, not just the numbers of transgender veterans who come to the VA, but also because we are involved in like the Healthcare Quality Index. This is through the Human Rights Campaign.
Yep.
This is an annual review that healthcare systems apply to be rated a leader in LGBT healthcare. And so what we're doing in the VA can have a ripple effect. I think there is no way to know for sure what the VA will do in the future, but it's great news that right now, transgender service members, to my understanding, are receiving surgeries within the military.
Excellent. So my one last question before we run is, if the policy is upheld to ban transgender members from the military, active military duty, will that affect members of the VA who are transgendered?
So overwhelmingly, absolutely not. Once a veteran has access to the VA, they have access to the VA. Now, if somebody is discharged under an LGBT-related discharge, what their DD-214 says is important. That's the discharge paperwork. If that paperwork has an undesirable or other than desirable discharge, that might ban them from accessing the VA. However, there are groups like Outserve SLDN as well as Swords to Plowshare that specifically help veterans for free upgrade those discharge papers so that they can access the VA and so that their lives are not fettered by that history of discharge.
Fantastic. Well, thank you, Dr. Ramirez. I think that you're going to be coming back to see me to discuss some more of these things in a little more detail. But I want to thank you for coming and joining us this evening. That's all from here. Now back to the studio.
Thank you.
I'm Liam Makelem, and you are watching the very wonderful, the very queer, very gay Outlook video.
We are at the San Jose City Rotunda for World AIDS Day. We are viewing the World AIDS Day quilt that has been brought down from San Francisco. It is only a very small part of a countrywide quilt that was first released in 1987. As the Reverend John Rodgers, what is your interest in bringing the AIDS quilt or a piece of the AIDS quilt to San Jose for World AIDS Day?
I have found that in the community we have kind of come to the conclusion AIDS is done, it's cured, and it's not. It's still expanding and it's still prevalent, and we need to educate people. So bringing the quilt portion of the quilt into town helps get people here, and then we can educate them about how to, that the AIDS isn't gone. It's still here and it's still affecting us.
Even for you walking among the quilt today, how does that feel for you, even though you're so-called used to it and are educated?
It's always emotional for me when I pull the panels out and we lay them down or set them up. It's always an emotional time. And I travel around the United States helping to display the quilt, and it's very emotional each time I pull them out.
It was very emotional for me too, because I recognized a few people and it brought back memories of, oh my God, the 1980s. Yes. What was that? Can you describe that?
The 80s was very difficult because a lot of ministers and that would not officiate at funerals or memorials. So I was busy constantly, and it kind of wore me down to where I had to step back and take a break. But that's when we had AIDS wards, and family wouldn't go visit people and all of that. And, so it was really a tough time at that time. And it's gotten a little bit better, but we still have a long ways to go.
So back then, people say this was the gay man's Holocaust. Do you feel that that's what was happening?
No, it's a disease. It was not God's punishment or any of that. It's a disease. And right now, the majority of those who are living with HIV/AIDS are straight. They're not LGBTQ community. It's mostly are straight.
Is that because the LGBTQ community has taken it on to educate each other, and that's why our connection with HIV has been reduced?
Well, yeah, in the early 80s, 82, when we found out what it really was, and the government saying, well, it's punishment to the gays, let them die, or let's round them up and put them in concentration camps. That's when we started fighting, and we started fighting to get funding to do research to start to prevent HIV and stuff. And we ran around, we passed out condoms and really worked hard. And so, yes, because it impacted the gay men community, we became very active in making that happen, and ACT UP started and all of those things.
That's what I love about the LGBT community, is like we do take it on as our issue and then confront the authorities who need to be taking care of us like they do any other disease, as
Right.
you say.
Right. Exactly. And we still need to go more and still need to do more. And the thing that really irritates me, and I'm going to be a little bit political, even though I'm a minister and try not to be, that the current stuff that's happening in Washington will take away us being able to have the preventative medication on our health insurance. And, the costs would be and then we're going to see HIV going up. So,
Well, they always say prevention is so much cheaper than treatment, and yet they cut prevention all the time.
yes, exactly. And so we're fighting again, coming to fight again, and so we're rallying the troops to make that happen. And that's part of the reason to bring the quilt into San Jose, into the Bay Area this week with the World AIDS Day, to raise that awareness again.
And bring back that activist in everyone.
Yes, I'm a minister first and an activist second, and sometimes I'm not sure which one I'm doing more.
Well, thank you so much for the work you're doing.
Thank you for coming and seeing this, and hopefully everybody comes out and sees it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Welcome you to our 30th annual Light of Lights Candlelight. Every one of you. And for what in the last year we have all gone through in terms of loss and change and trauma, this is our time to come together as a community and to celebrate the love that never dies, to celebrate our strength in coming together, in comforting each other, and in celebrating the memories of those we love. And I could not be happier to see this room filled with amazing people that have taken time out of your precious day to be here. And so we want to honor your time. And we want to invite you to take a nice deep breath and let go of the busyness of the day. Let go of all the cares. Let go of all the worries. You are here in sacred space. Because each of us, my friends, is here because we have walked the journey of grief. And when we walk that journey, whether you've had to walk it alone or whether you've had people beside you, there is nothing more powerful than reaching for the love and connection that goes beyond grief. And so in the lighting of the candles, which this ceremony is built around, we are going to release a little bit of that trauma, a little bit of that sadness, a little bit of that heaviness of grief. And we are going to allow ourselves to have this moment where we can be at peace and be ourselves. Because many times in our world, if we have to go to work, if we have to do our daily lives, we sometimes bolster up the courage to do that. But we don't ever have a time where we can just rest. We can just sink into a comforting space and allow ourselves to honor our grief and to honor where we are without apology, without justification. Because grief is like a roller coaster. You know, our founder, Marianne Kelly, often talked about grief in this way, and I thought it was a beautiful description. She said it's like putting on cement hip boots and a jacket to match and trying to do your day. That's what grief is like. It's an extra heaviness. And we often say at the Center for Living with Dying that if you're grieving, it's like you have a physical injury, isn't it? Your heart is broken. And so if your arm was broken, what would we do for a broken arm? We would take you to the hospital and get it fixed. And then everyone would see the cast on the broken arm. And we know that you have gone through this grief. And so that's what we're doing today, my friends. In the lighting of the candles, is we're acknowledging our loss and also acknowledging the love that never dies.
First responders and rescue workers, fire, police, paramedics, dispatchers, who daily risk their lives in order to protect and save citizens in crisis. We honor them for their courage and sacrifice.
Chance to light a candle and to say a name. We want to invite you to come up if you did not get the chance to.
We love to get mail from you. Email us at comments@outlookvideo.org.
To contact us by phone, call 408-293-3040, extension 205.
Visit our website at outlookvideo.org.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/outlookvideo.
And connect with us at facebook.com/outlookvideo.
I want to acknowledge the fact that I've been invited here for several years by the Rainbow World Fund, World Tree of Hope, for their lighting celebration. And Jeff Cotter and I have become friends through all of this, and I'm so grateful to them for all the work they do for the LGBTQ community. And I think it's wonderful that we can all come together of all backgrounds and enjoy each other's company and love each other on this particular day. How about
Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step
He is the founder and the executive director of the Rainbow World Fund. And you know that this is the organization that created the beautiful holiday tree. But a little bit about the Rainbow World Fund, the Tree of Hope. He founded the Rainbow World Fund 17 years ago. And it was because he had a desire to create a better world. He wanted to tap into the strength of the LGBT community to help others.
We're gay and straight people coming together to help heal the world. We work within our community to raise our community's consciousness about what's going on in the world and how we can help. And as we raise our community's consciousness, we raise funds to support relief efforts all over the planet. We have projects in Haiti, Honduras, Guatemala, Cambodia, South Africa, Iraq, and Syria. Our work focuses on landmine eradication, hunger, safe drinking water access, and global HIV. And we've also helped out during a number of natural disasters. Most recently, we did work with the fires in Northern California, the earthquakes in Mexico, and the hurricane in Puerto Rico. Over the past 17 years, we've raised and distributed $4.5 million in humanitarian aid. And that's all on behalf of the LGBT community. And the aid that we provide changes hearts and minds. We work to inspire hope in all of our projects, as well as providing humanitarian aid. And we've learned that hope is a very powerful force in people's lives. And we work to foster that in all the areas that with all the people that we work with. And we decided that 12 years ago we should do a hope project in the United States. And we came up with the idea for the World Tree of Hope. The World Tree of Hope is covered with 17,000 cranes, origami cranes, and all of the cranes are inscribed with people's wishes for the future of the world. People send them in through the mail and through the internet, and we fold them and put them up on the tree. We create the tree as a symbol of global unity and as a gift from the LGBT community to the world.
As Donna said, I've been a part of this project since the beginning, and it's kind of a funny story. A lot of people are curious how this tree came to be. One day, we got a call at our store, which is actually called the Origami Store, and it was Jeff Cotter, and was asking if he had this idea to do this wonderful tree in City Hall, and they had this idea. They were inspired by the story of Sadako and the 1,000 Cranes, and they thought how wonderful it would be to have a beautiful tree in City Hall that's covered in origami cranes that all have wishes written on the wings. And I said, that's a fantastic, what a beautiful project. And he says, the only problem is we don't know how to fold the origami. We don't know the first thing about it. And so we got together and really developed this project along with Paul Stankiewicz, who was one of the beginning directors, and made our first tree. And it was
for Christmas, this is all I'm asking for. I just want to see my baby standing right outside my door. 'Cause I just want you here tonight, holding on to me so tight. What more can I do? Maybe all I want for Christmas
So when I hear the term today, sanctuary city, it makes me shiver in all sorts of ways because it's always been that to me. So many people have come to this place and found themselves in one way or another. proud that I live here. And look around this room and you'll see what San Francisco is about. Look around this room.
Another magical moment in San Francisco. So, there'll be scary ghost stories and tales of the glories of Christmases long, long ago. It's the most wonderful time of the year. There'll be much mistletoeing and hearts will be glowing when loved ones are near. It's the most wonderful time. It's the most wonderful time. It's the most wonderful time of the year.
And that's a wrap on this month's edition of Outlook Video. You can watch extended versions of our segments and archived past programs on the Outlook Video's YouTube channel at youtube.com/OutlookVideo. Be sure to click on the subscription button.
Also friend us on Facebook at facebook.com/OutlookVideo. Outlook Video is made possible by generous donations from viewers like you and talented volunteers behind the camera whose names you'll see as we close. We close this month's show with coverage at the San Francisco City Hall Rotunda, where Mayor Ed Lee lay in state.
From all of us here at Outlook Video, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next month. Bye.
Bye.
We are working with you tonight. Tonight we march with you. Tomorrow and the weekend we celebrate with you. And every day forward we fight with you to end discrimination, stop barriers, to increase employment and to decrease unemployment in our transgendered community. You have our commitment to do that together with you.